Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 11 of the Leo Lens podcast. I'm your host, Nathan.
And I'm Sakshi.
And today we're talking about what advice we would have and what we wish we knew about going to college.
Yeah, and I think this one is super interesting because I'm learning so many things in my last semester. As you know, Nathan and I are seniors, and we were just thinking about it, and we were like, we have so much learning to do this semester. Like, imagine all the things compiled that we learned in 4 years, and imagine if there's like a book or like a set guide to like all these things. And we were like, hey, let's treat our listeners,
Yeah, we can be the guide.
Yeah, and not parasocial.
Not parasocial at all. It's a book that talks back. We're like a little goldfish.
Love that.
But yeah, so I think you introed it well with, it's weird that as a senior now, I don't feel that different from not only college freshman me, but I'll even just for this point go back to high school freshman me.
Yeah.
But it really is like the way I am now is so much more productive and happy and good at being a college student now than I was freshman year.
Yeah.
In big and small ways. So we'll kind of talk about all that now.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about first? Is there a sector of college life you want to start on?
I don't know, Nathan. I think I agree with what you said. I think let's start with productivity because I think that's something that like changes a lot when you enter college and like in different stages of your college life, like when you're living in a dorm, when you're living by yourself. So let's start with that.
Yeah, there you go. So first you said living. Dorm living, apartment living, wherever you are in college. The productivity measures you have with that
are so different.
I
agree. I feel like, and also because of like the compulsion, right? I feel like in high school, you're going to school and you're there the whole day. So you're attending all your classes, all of that.
Yes. The biggest change from high school to college, at least under American standards.
Exactly. And then when you come to college, you're like living in a dorm or you're living in an apartment, whatever. But you have these breaks between classes and you have these choices to make before every class. It's like, do I feel like going to class today? Do I need to go to class today? And it's like, all of a sudden, there's no compulsion. So like your productivity is very different based on if you attended all 3 classes today or if you attended none,
And I think, I know when I was coming in college, and this entire episode will be bouncing around topics because welcome to the Leo Lens podcast, baby.
Everything is a spectrum, multiple tangents, and that's how life is. We just like to be that. Yeah.
We tell it how it is. A big difference for me coming into college was that I thought skipping classes only meant, you're laying in bed, you don't want to get out, so you skip.
Yeah.
Not all the case. You have more important exams.
Yeah.
That you're like, I'm skipping this class because I have a full A and we're just reviewing.
Yeah.
Versus this class, I'm, not doing as well and I need to study for. There are more important events, as important as your classes are and academics are.
Yeah.
You have a conference you're going to, an event, a forum, a panel, something.
Yeah, like
a
job.
A job posting.
Just multiple things.
Yeah, multiple things. When I went to the Kim Kardashian OIP panel a few weeks ago, that was a thing where I'm like, hey, I'm not going to class today because of this. It's just not only other issues and just, mental health and, physical health nowadays, especially a big thing, but it's everything.
No, literally. I feel like in school, everything is very separate. Like there's a time for you to be in school and then there's a time where you go to like your doctor's appointments and your parents accompany you to it. And there's a time for classes, there's a time for social media, all of that. But once you're in college and classes can run from say 8 a.m. at the earliest, so even 6 a.m. for some people I know, to like 7 p.m. or 8 p.m., all of a sudden you're like, allocating the same time to either your class or to something else important. And there's like a big opportunity cost that comes into place. Like I have had so many instances where I was only able to get a doctor's appointment at the same time as a class. And it's like, now I need to decide, do I take care of myself here or do I like give my academic stuff more of a priority?
My record in college, I was in 3 meetings at the same time.
Amazing.
And not recommended by any means.
Yeah, it's difficult.
It's difficult, but it very much is a way things go in college.
Yeah.
I think I've had days where genuinely was 3 a.m. you start doing things.
3 a.m.
That was when I was in ROTC.
Okay.
So,
Quick background info.
new Nathan lore just dropped, was in ROTC freshman year. So,
And for those of you who don't know, for all my listeners from India, ROTC is, what would you say, like an army preparation program for college students?
it is Reserve Officers Training Corps, and it is one of really 3 ways the United States military has military officers.
Yeah, and that's how they like recruit you, and that's like primarily for college students, right?
ROTC is college
Yes.
students, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so Nathan was in ROTC, so in his case, sometimes his day was like 3 a.m.
3 a.m. I'd have class until 8,
Yeah,
and then I'm doing things from laundry to studying to homework
exactly.
till like 2 a.m. the next morning.
Yeah, you know, it's really difficult finding that balance once you're in college, because it's like you could be doing your homework right now, or you could be investing in a meal for yourself because you're hungry. And it's like, because all of a sudden you're doing everything for yourself. All of a sudden you are calling all the shots, you know? So I feel like in that sense, for me at least, productivity was like personal productivity versus academic productivity versus like overall environmental productivity in terms of like, did I clean my room? You know, are my clothes washed? You know, like stuff you mentioned.
I think a good way I would describe it to anyone, if you found our podcast and you're listening to this episode because you're in high school, about to go to college, it is like Skyrim or any other like RPG game online, right? And you don't know the tutorial and you're just dropped off. You go from high school where, classes are 7 to 2, that's it, versus college, you're dropped off and it's now figure it out.
Yeah.
And you actually realize you learned nothing prior to college about how to be a human.
Yeah, and I think that sounds daunting, but like over the years, I think that's kind of liberating now. Like, to think.
Oh, I think it's great.
Yeah, because like earlier, I feel like, when we're in high school, you do things according to what somebody else's rules are for those things. Like, oh, I think you should be eating lunch at 1, so all students eat lunch at 1, but now, like in college, I realized, like, okay, let's talk about this in terms of food. As I always like to, now I've discovered, hey, like I like eating lunch at like 12:30. I'm an early lunch person, and like it, just for other things, like I'm realizing that I really like doing more activities in the evening, like making art or like yoga or whatever. I'm not a morning person in that sense. So it's nice knowing that you can sort of figure out your own schedule and like follow that because you aren't facing any external compulsion.
Yeah, you're really limited before college in your schedule. Like you said, that was a good example. Personally, you said early lunch at 12:30, which made me cringe because I'm an 11 a.m. lunch person.
Wow.
I don't have breakfast either, though.
Okay.
So I have like a brunch and then like a dinner.
Okay.
As my meals of the day. But yeah, it's like you can't pick that. You can't choose when and what to do. I remember freshman year, me and my friend, coincidentally also named Nathan, we went to the RPAC, which is Ohio State's Student Rec Center. I believe it's actually the largest collegiate student rec in America.
Love that.
Alexa will.
Go Bucks.
Go Buckeyes. And we were just walking around and it was just hitting us that like in college, you really like, you can be anything. It just depends on what path you choose.
That is so true.
You can become a world-class athlete. You have the resources, you have the food resources. You can go to the gym however many hours a day. You can do that. If you want to be, the next Mark Zuckerberg, you can spend 24 hours a day coding and working on all of these different projects. Right. That's all up to you.
Yeah.
And I think, like we said, it wasn't daunting. It felt good.
It
felt nice that you could finally figure out who you are. It's a cliche. You hear it all the time, be like,
I love the
find yourself.
enthusiasm that you're saying this with. I wish we had like a video format. Like Nathan was like, I have achieved the purpose of life. I have found myself, you guys.
Remember, the meaning of life is simply the Ohio State Dining Hall.
Literally, I love eating at the RPAC. I was like actually thinking about this and I was like, should I get my grad photo at like the RPAC? Because like I know most people get the grad photos like the places they spend the most time in. I have literally spent my most time in the RPAC eating. Not even working out, eating, doing homework, studying, sitting between classes and people watching. And I'm like, let's go RPAC. I love it.
So moving on to the next kind of subtopic, did you have, and I actually don't know this background, we didn't talk about halftime. Did you do the welcome to campus peer leader orientation on campus, or did you not show up to campus until class?
Yeah, I didn't show up to campus until class started. Like I was there like 2 days before classes started with my dad.
Can I share what mine was in? Because I was part that I thought was stupid. I had a bad time in the moment. In part, I got in a really bad car crash going to orientation.
I've never heard about this.
Yeah. So, like, I was already, like, either in pain or on pain meds or both.
Oh, my God.
At orientation. And this was, like, opening ceremony, like, talk was at, like, 8:45. The crash was at, like, 8 a.m. I think I was, like, 10 minutes late because I had to get a ticket from the police.
That sucks. Were you by yourself?
Well, my parents.
Oh my God, that sucks even more.
Or we drove separately.
Okay.
But then they were able to come help me. But
okay, thank God.
I was fine. I didn't break anything, but my car was messed up.
Okay.
But it was all crazy weekend. But looking back, I realized as much as I didn't like it in the moment, it really was good.
Yeah.
One, college is a scary new place. 1A, especially if anyone Ohio State University specific is listening.
Yeah.
Campus is massive and scary for the first 3 years of your undergraduate career.
Like, I remember my dad dropped me off at my dorm. Yeah. And then he came to pick me up later for dinner. And all we did was go from, like, West Campus to High Street. And I was like, are we driving into a new city? Like, hello?
I grew up near Columbus in Westerville. And I still, like, I've been to Ohio State games before, but, like, the mental map just wasn't there, and it takes so long to get.
It does take long.
And frankly, most people will never be everywhere.
That's true.
Like, I do not know how many people have been down to, like, Adriaticos and Threes and Riverwatch Tower and Midway.
All just different points of campus.
Just kind of, if you don't know campus, I'm pointing at kind of like every different corner.
It's like a huge circle, and like each point on the circumference is just like a different aspect of
Ohio State. It's like a mile.
It is. It's huge. It's a huge campus.
Radius.
Yeah.
It's big, but so it's massive. So I think walking around campus was a great thing. You can do that your orientation day, just freshman welcome week. You know, and I think it's called welcome week everywhere. But I remember my first day, my first night at campus was timidly meeting everyone in your dorm, and then we all just started like awkwardly, we just like grouped up and walked around.
Yeah.
And everyone does that. It's great.
No,
and I still remember this.
That's so cute.
I will like forever remember. It helped because my dorm has like weird tunnels. If you know Canfield, the Canfield Mac tunnels are also connected to a dining hall at Ohio State, and there's all these weird.
Are you doing what, K-Con?
Yes, K-Con.
Okay, yes.
And there's all these weird underground tunnels.
Yes.
Very weird to explore if you're an Ohio State student. I would say somehow get in there to explore. It's weird, but just walking around, introducing yourself, that was good.
Right.
And that's kind of my first half of the big takeaway I had from orientation that I would impart on our viewers.
Ding, ding, ding. I feel like we've spoken so much that like I'm going to make this noise every time we want them to like write something or like, this is a takeaway.
This will be on the test afterwards. So the second part is, I wish our professors did that. Before I move on, I wish our professors did that. They just ring a little bell in class every time they're like,
pay attention.
They'll be on the exam, ding.
Okay, yeah. So what's your first takeaway for our listeners?
So the first takeaway is just get out, walk around, get to know your campus.
Yeah.
If you can do that orientation, do it the first few weeks of class, do what you can.
Yeah.
The second thing is, and I thought it was the most annoying, so at Ohio State, we get assigned a peer leader.
Yes.
Which is like an upperclassman student who gives you advice. They give you the tour at orientation, and you can text them during the school year as you to settle in. And during orientation, they like sit you down and give you, some talks, and you do like bonding games.
Some talks, yeah.
And I don't even remember what those talks were. I've blanked on all of them, as probably everyone did.
We also had those 3 series we had to attend. Remember, in our freshman year, there were these 3 training courses that we had to attend. One was on like love, like safe love.
You could choose.
Yeah, I think mine were like safe love, clubs, like having, organizational participation outside college. And the third one is like sexual education, just like...
I did like relationships and libraries and something. But our peer leader, the only thing I took away from orientation was I remember our peer leader telling us there is never a night you should be in your dorm. And obviously, literally, that is not true.
Yeah.
Most nights will be in your dorm.
Exactly.
I'm telling you right now, however many people, because I struggled with this, especially during COVID, because I didn't go out during COVID, not as many people are partying and doing XYZ as you think.
Oh my God.
The vast majority of people are inside alone watching TV.
That's like our biggest takeaway.
That is a thing. You can vouch for me with this. I got somewhat extremely depressed halfway through college because I would be like, everyone that is out doing these cool things and I'm not. And now that like I'm an upperclassman and I have time to go out and do all these things, I look around like it's the same 5 people.
And Nathan's like, I'm a sleepy boy. I'm going to bed at 10:30
it's like,
because
okay, I'm good. Bye.
I need sleep. I don't need parties. I don't care about FOMO. I need sleep. And that is so true. I'm so glad you brought that up. I think the biggest takeaway, if you take nothing else away from our episode today, is people aren't having as much fun as you think they are. And this is so true. Like, I feel like because a lot of people, like, going into college, they are like, hey, join this club, there's so many things to do here. There's like so many parties that happen. And I don't know, based on the size of your college, you may have like some preconceived notions about like, oh, I'm going to like this huge college with like 70,000 kids. So I should be having fun. It doesn't matter who I am. I should just always be partying. And I think somewhere that's what I thought about like college life too, because like coming from India, like US, and you may know this too, US college life is depicted very differently in movies as compared to what it actually is in real life.
Yeah, like Riverdale makes college, like most college depictions are as if it's Riverdale.
Yeah.
It's not the truth.
Like, oh, there's like so much drama and everybody knows everybody and people are like acting like 14-year-olds when they're like 18, like all this nonsense that they depict on media. I was like, oh yeah, like I'm coming to college. I want every Friday night like to be out. I just have to be doing stuff every weekend. And I actually realized that the majority of my like weekend nights in my freshman year were just like me playing board games and like me going to like fun places to eat, but just mostly like staying in and having fun with my friend group at that time,
I think on the note of being involved, I will caveat, get involved with clubs. The source of a lot of issues comes down to join clubs, join organizations, do something. Look at how do you make friends in college?
Yeah.
Join clubs. How do you get opportunities in college? Join clubs. Yeah. How do you get jobs and grad school after college? You have that on your resume of being in a club.
That's so interesting because I kind of disagree. Okay, most people... No, I think clubs are amazing in the sense of like they provide you this opportunity to like be exposed to things you wouldn't necessarily be exposed to. Like for me, I'm a finance major, but I recently joined this printmaking club where I'm literally like hanging out with a bunch of art majors and making like prints with them. And it's like, I would have never had this opportunity unless I didn't join this club. So it's like, I believe clubs like open you up to so many different things that you may not get to discover in your traditional academic course. But I know a lot of people who've made friends primarily by like hanging out with their suite mates or their dorm people. So I get what Nathan is saying. I think Nathan is like, if you want a safety plan, like if you're really concerned about not making friends, definitely join a club.
Or you don't like your suite mates.
Yeah, that's so true.
Never talked to mine. We genuinely had maybe 15 sentences all freshman year.
Started. Oh my God, we have so much to cover on this.
We now even roommates.
No, literally. I think we have so much. Let's give our listeners a preview. I think roommates. Let's just like think about all the things we're going to talk about now. Roommates.
Yes.
Friend groups.
Yes.
Clubs.
Yes.
Greek life.
Yes.
changing your, like, your feelings about your major. I feel like that's something that changed for me throughout my 4 years. Like, we may just have to do a part 2, honestly.
Yeah, I think
I'm excited.
do you want to do...
I love how we're figuring this out with our listeners.
We do it live. Whatever that one classic show hosted.
We do. Like,
we keep it real.
All
We can't manipulate you because we don't think ahead of it.
Because, like, heart to heart right now, guys, like, a lot of people have asked me, like, a lot of new listeners especially have asked Nathan and I if we, like, sit and decide all this
Right, they're like, how do you plan it out?
And we're like, we literally don't.
Do we give off the vibes that this is at all planned out ahead of time?
Like, I literally came in here with a mandarin and I was like, hey, I got a snack for when I'm hungry. And I was like, hey, do you just, like, want to talk about college? And Nathan was like, yeah, I think that's super interesting. And then we switched on the mic, tested it for, like, 5 seconds, and we're like, let's just start talking. Like, we literally do not discuss this prior to, like, our episodes.
For showing Sakshi later, do you want to discuss these topics for our part 2?
Yes. Okay.
So, do you want to reveal what the part 2 is, or you want to...
No. Tease it.
Is it okay?
Tease it. Okay.
Yeah, we'll make this a part 1, and then come back for a part 2, and we'll keep dishing on the college life. I was going to make a deep dish joke, but I'm not funny enough.
Okay, yeah. So I think for part 1, Nathan and I have decided to, like, cover more emotional aspects of college because we've talked about clubs and making friends. So we were like, hey, let's just segue into, like, that aspect.
Yeah, just keep that going.
Okay, let's start with FOMO. Let's just continue with FOMO since that's what we were talking
that's
about.
what we were.
Yeah.
I think, and we had a unique experience, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners either had it in had COVID in either high school or college,
right,
of taking that chunk away. And I think obviously that made it hard, and that exacerbated FOMO in us.
Yeah.
I think the thing that personally got me out of it was, in a way, rebuilding sociability after COVID, if that makes sense. And this isn't just COVID. This is, if you're an incoming college freshman, do this, hit the ground running. Is realizing everyone else around you also wants friends.
So true.
Like, we get to the point, right, where you come to college, and you will see this, especially if you're high school again, coming into college, everyone will be like, we're college kids now. No, you're not.
You're not.
We are high school, you're so high and mighty as a senior. College freshman, you're in preschool again.
You will literally feel like a 5-year-old for the rest of your life, guys.
Yes, you are back in preschool. If you want a friend, just talk to someone.
Yeah.
Like, just go up, like, in class, talk to a person next to you. Talk with them some in class, add them on social media, keep talking.
Yeah.
Like, I have so many friends now after realizing that everyone else also wants friends, of just, I had class with them, and then afterwards I added them on Instagram, and then we just banter back and forth on stories, and now we go to parties together, and it's great.
Yeah.
It's like, just getting over that fear that you'll text them and they won't reciprocate it is just something I get over. Because in truth, even 50% of people might not reciprocate.
Yeah.
That's fine.
You still got 50%.
You send 2 out, you get 1 new friend.
Yeah.
You send 10 out, you get 5 new friends.
That's
like,
easy.
you just keep doing that.
Yeah.
And you build up that network of people who you do talk to, and you do trust, and you do have fun with.
That's so true. And, speaking of making friends, do not think that the friends you make in your freshman year are your forever friends.
No. Do not hold on to friends.
I cannot emphasize this enough. The group of people that I was friends with my freshman year, I am only speaking to one person today from that. And I knew, like, 20 people, right? Like, there are 20 people that I sort of hung out with, or, like, we would go to parties together, whatever, occasionally. And I swear I only talked to one of my closest friends from those 20 people. The other 19 are cut out. They're not in my life. I don't have anything to do, nothing. Like, I pass them, I, like, smile or something, but, like, they are not. We're not close. We used to be so close in freshman year, right? And I'm just like, I have a completely different set of friends. Like, I think it's important to understand that this is, college is a very big growth process. Like, you will change how you think about things, what you think about things a million times over. It's because of exposure. It's because of personal experiences or whatever. But, like, there are so many things in your mind and your personality that are going to change so much that it just feels fair that the people you surround with will change as you grow.
You're going to have, in the same way that you can make friends really easy now, you will also lose lots and lots of friends. And there'll be
ups and downs.
And ups and down the line that trends higher throughout college, I think is the best way to describe it. Kind of like a growing stock market, because we're business majors.
Love that. Clap, clap.
Clap, clap. Yay, stock market up. But yeah, no, I remember the same thing going back to my orientation. There was like an orientation weekend here. I remember you had the peer leader and again, maybe 20 of us, and we all made a Snapchat group chat. And we spent like 5 hours that night, right?
Yeah.
Like we got done at 6 p.m. and we were released for the day. We spent like the next 5 hours all being like, we're staying friends. We are staying in contact no matter what, blah, blah, blah.
Besties for life.
Besties for life. If nothing else, we'll have each other in college.
Yeah.
I have not talked to any of them since maybe September of my freshman year.
Yeah. Like literally 1 month into college. We're like, bye.
I'll also say, again, on the topic of friendships, and don't be afraid of, how friendships will seem kind of turmoilous. Rocky. Let's go with rocky.
Let's go with rocky.
Yeah. So it'll seem rocky, but like, I'm not friends with any of the people from my orientation group. I'm not friends with anyone from my floor freshman year. I'm not friends with my suite mate, my dorm mate.
Yeah.
I'm friends with none of them.
Yeah.
And I still have lots of friends.
Yeah.
Which, saying that out loud sounds really tragic. But no, guys, I have friends.
It's like, believe me.
Believe me, they just go to Canada. No, but I didn't keep in contact with any of them. And that's fine.
That's fine.
Like you said, you really do, in college, find yourself. And you really do find the people you do end up meshing really well with.
And I think friendship in college is such a big spectrum. Like in my freshman year, I used to live in a 16-people suite. Like I was in one of those huge dorms. I had 4 roommates. And then I had there were 4 rooms in my whole apartment, so to speak, in the dorm. So there were 16 of us. And obviously, I used to hang out in my dorm, when I'm going to classes, coming back, whatever. I used to know so many details about my suite mates' lives because they're hanging out there, they're doing homework, they're discussing.
They're the people you see every day.
Literally. And now, sometimes I go to their parties and stuff. I'm still in touch with my suite mates. I really liked some of my suite mates and my neighbors. We got really close. So I still see them. Sometimes I still run into them and we still go to each other's parties and stuff. But it's you just imagine that at one point you knew everything about these people. Actually, you knew when they were sick, and their parents, or you've met their parents because their parents have come to pick them up. You knew when they were having bad days, how they deal with those bad days. You knew their favorite coffee flavor. And all of a sudden, you see them just maybe once in 2 or 3 months and you're just having drinks or whatever. You're like, how's life?
Yeah. My best example of something like that is junior year, the week before classes begin. It's a party week typically because people are back on campus, but classes haven't started yet. So it's a lot of party. It's warm in August. It's a party.
I love it. I can't
It's
wait.
a good week. It's party week. I was at a party that I was with a friend who was there because of his girlfriend, and his girlfriend was there because she was friends with someone else.
Okay.
So it's already Kevin Bacon degrees of separation.
Yeah.
It's should I have even been there? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was there and literally waiting for the bathroom with another dude in line. Never met him before. 2 girls came up to us and we all just started chatting at 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
We all decided we were besties.
Love that.
And now we don't talk on a normal day-to-day basis. Some of them talk closer, but as a group, we don't talk as a group. But we've gone dinners.
Aww.
I saw one of them the other day, just honked at me and waved at me in traffic. It's just always, hi, bestie.
Yeah.
And keep going.
That's so cute.
College is, I can't emphasize this enough, preschool playground.
I love it.
We literally just found each other at 1 a.m. at party. We're we're besties now.
With the same amount of bacteria.
Don't talk. Yes. That's another thing. Get your flu shot for college. Get your flu shot. You will get the campus plague.
Oh, you will.
You will.
I remember when we all were down with it. It was the worst experience ever.
Speak for yourself. Never got it.
I feel like you say you've never got things, and then when I like talk to other people in your life, they're like, yeah, he probably got it. He just like didn't get a heavy enough strain of it. Like, I'm so sure.
That's how I am with COVID. It's like I never had symptoms.
And then I'm like, that's bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, yeah, I think friendship in college, I mean, friendship in life is a spectrum, and we've covered this on our friendship, a cocktail episode. But like, friendship in college is especially a very big spectrum because, sometimes you may be living with your sweet mates and you're like, okay, I love these people, but like, I only like really, really vibe with like 2 of these sweet mates, so I only want to live with them in my apartment. I don't want the other. So it's like, you don't know when people come in, you don't know where people go out. And, this is actually how I met Nathan. Like, as we've told you, Nathan and I met on like this group chat for accounting. And had Nathan been very close-minded about like, oh, I only want to stick to my freshman friend, I don't want to make any more friends, we would have never hung out. But like, Nathan and I were just like, hey, like he lives right next to me, so we just want to drop some parcel off for a friend, and he just decided to join me for my walk. And then the next thing we know, him and I and a couple of friends are going to a concert. And like, that's literally how we started being friends.
It is generally like, it is insane how in college it is easy to lose touch with people, but it's also so easy to make friends. We literally made 20 plus friends in that group chat. Obviously, again, we're not close with all of them still.
But it's like, if anything ever happens, if anybody needs help, we're like, we're down. Like, let us know.
Text me.
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of like, if I was ever friends with you, I don't care where I am in life. I don't care where you are in life. Like, as long as it's not like, hey, help me commit a crime. Maybe not that. But if you need help, like moving or something and I'm in town, text me. I'm always big proponent of even if you don't stay in touch, you're still, honoring that friendship that was. You got to how friendships in college are like a specific subset. Let's take that one subset further.
Okay.
Greek life in college.
I think we should have another, like, the amount of stuff I had to say about
You want an episode?
Yeah, I'm like stretching, but I'm starting.
Okay.
Greek life. Okay. So for all my friends, all our listeners who don't know what Greek life is, Nathan will explain it. No. Okay, how about you explain, like, what it's meant to be and the purpose and everything, and then I'll explain my experience in it because I was in a traditional sorority.
So for background, I was in a non-traditional fraternity. I'm in a co-ed, non-social fraternity.
Okay, so I like typically frats are for men and sororities are for women.
Frats are guys, sororities are girls, and
they're meant for social.
They're normally social. So I'm in basically fraternity by name only. But in theory, it is, gender segregated, but it's, you all get a big house together and you do, block like football game parties. You do parties throughout the year. You do like
date parties.
You do like date parties, Valentine's Day parties are probably all coming up. You do like St. Patrick's Day parties. There's a lot of parties, but also like, in theory, professional development, doing philanthropy. I love
how you say in theory, because like my mom was like, when I joined a sorority, she was like, are you actually going to philanthropy? And I was like, no, I just said that to you so that I would get it.
I actually did. I did with Zeta Tau Alpha here on campus. They have a philanthropy event called Big Buckeye on Campus, which is a men's pageant. And I was a contestant representing,
of course,
my fraternity, Phi Alpha Delta, and it. I did not win, but it was fun.
Participation is key.
Participation, putting yourself out there.
College, that's college. Participation is key.
Participation, put yourself out there. I have a finishing story. I'll save it for the end of the episode. But that's what Greek life is in theory.
In theory.
We're in the more traditional Greek life, and you have thoughts.
Okay, I'm like laughing, and like Nathan is prepared because he's heard me like rant so much.
I know what's coming.
Okay, so like a lot of people think that Greek life is like a primary way for people to make friends because think about it, like there's so many undergraduate students and there aren't necessarily any events or like places where you're forced to be at the same time, where you're forced to like sort of meet people and interact with them. But Greek life is basically that. Like once you join a certain fraternity or a sorority, you're sort of bonded, and I'm saying air quotes, bonded with the people in your house, like the people who are in your sorority or fraternity. And honestly, I think it's all bullshit. Like, I was in my sophomore year, at the end of my sophomore year. And I had a good set of friends, but I wanted to do more. Like, I wanted more social stuff in my life. Like, I was really looking forward to all the Valentine's Day parties and just like small stuff like that like adds a cute social calendar to my life. But just
it's
like
automatic social calendar.
Yeah, like it's like, I get to go to these things and it's not like I need to gather people for it because all the people I'm in the sorority with are going to come to it.
Yeah.
So I joined it and I was like, yeah, I'm like going to make so many friends. And nothing. I made like maybe 2 friends and like 2 people that I'm still in touch with today. But like, I don't think Greek life is like necessary when you come to college. I think Greek life is like very much over romanticized and it's definitely not the way they show it. Like, I think Greek life can be a very exclusive in the sense that they exclude you. Like,
yes,
it can be a very exclusive experience. The way Greek life usually it's not very diverse. So if you're like a person of color or you just come from a background that's not similar to those of your brothers or sisters, they can definitely it can definitely feel like you're left out a lot because they just don't understand where you come from, and because they are the majority, it's sort of like they don't care to understand where you come from. And I don't know. For me, I personally found that Greek life was like kind of like you have to kiss up to people you don't necessarily like just to get like a group going. And then once you found your clique, you're like, okay, yeah, like now I'm settled into this. Like, I think Greek life was basically, for me, my experience, I think Greek life was basically high school, the dramatic girls, like the bitchy dramatic girls,
the
mean girls, basically. It was basically that, but college students who had a lot of their parents' money.
It's very traditionally the parents' money. So,
yeah.
I mean, I think you put is even at Ohio State, where Greek life is a big thing here.
Yeah.
By no means required.
Yeah.
But I also will say, it's not for everyone either.
Yeah.
I do think, not say there are people who don't get a lot out of it. There are.
There are a lot
of people who get to it.
Them.
And it is unfortunate. It is hard to know. If you're the person who gets, if you'll get a lot out of it, if you won't get a lot out of it, it's hard to know that from the onset.
I feel like it's a very showy culture because I recently met up for dinner with a friend who was in a sorority, and from her pictures on Instagram, from like all the parties and everything she went to, I was like, when I used to see them, I was like, oh my gosh, she's getting along so well with everybody.
So fun. It's so
yeah.
XYZ.
And then I met her for dinner recently. She's graduated. She's leaving. And I was like, hey, so I heard everything with your sorority turn out. And she's like, I hated it. Like,
yes.
It was so mean. There's so many cliques in it. And, they were like, they exclude you so much. Like, if you're not in a clique, if you're not in a group of your own from the beginning, you're kind of like just... You don't belong to any group and you're just like lost in a sea full of people. It's just, it seems very fun, but from my personal experience, it was not good for my mental health. Like, there's always this competition of like, oh, like doing, like looking better or like, always doing up yourself because it is a showy culture, right? Like, most of the people I knew from like my sorority or just sororities in general, like all of them have very active social media. So knowing or unknowingly, even if they are just doing it to make themselves feel better, which is totally valid, somewhere you start, you're like, okay, this person or this group is like dressing so well for this event, I need to do something equally good so that I look good, so that I'm included in those pictures. And then, if you're like sorority posts, like, sometimes they do like a recap of the event or something.
Yeah, recap, member of the week type.
Yeah, and it's like, if nobody elects you or if nobody puts like pictures of you, you're like, okay, like, am I even like involved? Like, I feel in that sense, clubs are more holistic because it's like, in clubs, it's a very free entry and exit way, like you are there because you want to be there. And if you don't want to be there, you can just leave. So it's like, you are there with a purpose. You want them, they want you. So it's like, okay, let's do this. Let's sit down together and do this. Whereas with Greek life, it's like, you are making the choice to do this. They don't need you as bad as you need them.
Yeah.
They are very selective. So it's like, going into the process, you can definitely feel very undervalued as a person. And then if you're in Greek life and you feel undervalued, even being a member of the fraternity or the sorority is just like, why did I even join this? Like, like like in to sum it up, Greek life is definitely very over romanticized, and I personally know, like, the people who I know, like the OG, the real people who like made it through Greek life or whatever, they honestly admit at the end when they graduate that like, I actually found a lot of my friends outside of Greek life, not in Greek.
By no means a requirement to get through college at all.
Yeah.
I will say, I think we're getting close to time for our part 1 now, but...
I'm like shaking. I'm like nodding my head in disapproval because...
You have so much to say.
I have so much to say. Like, I have so much to say, but yeah, go ahead.
So I have one last story I want to tie into on this subject of... In 2015, so I was in Boy Scouts as a kid. I got all the way up to Eagle Scout with palms, all that jazz. And I was in this society called Order of the Arrow. And they're kind of like the Boy Scout, Scouting of America Honor Society. And they have I believe it's not annual, but every few years they have an event called National Order of the Arrow Conference, NOAC. And it's held in like August on a college campus. So August of 2015, I got the chance to go to NOAC, and it was at Michigan State University. Gorgeous campus, by the way. I don't know if you've ever been.
Never.
I loved it there.
Okay.
It was gorgeous. And I really loved it. And anyway, that was my first experience at a college dining hall.
Right.
We'll get back to college dining halls in a later episode or something, because wow, I love them. But a big thing there it wasn't my first time. Through Scouting, I had a lot of great events, including the 2012 National Jamboree, which we'll talk about in a future episode, I'm sure. But it was very college-like in its setup, in that there were, all these classes you could go to. There was like a fair and all these events you could go to, XYZ. And I don't even remember what it was. But I remember just like walking around the MSU campus for it's like a week-long event one day, and I just like, it's gorgeous everywhere, and like I was scared to do rock climbing and like scared to talk with people in my group and all this. I'm like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
There is so much opportunity here and in the world, and I'm like, I made a promise to myself, I will always put myself out there and try. It doesn't matter if you fail, because you do 100 things.
Right.
51 of them will be a success.
Right.
And you keep repeating that, you can leverage those 51 successes to do even cooler stuff.
Right.
And just build. And this is by no means, my life wasn't changed in that day, right? I'm a transformed person, but I remember listening to Geronimo, the song, while thinking this. And maybe that's why I was thinking about it. But I try to keep that in mind. I find I didn't really get into that until upperclassmen in college, right? So like, I had that thought in 2015, and only now,
as a senior,
2021, 2022, 2023, I'm finally getting into that stride. But just, applying to, I do broadcasting with the Ohio State's esports team. I just randomly sent a application for that.
Yeah.
For the Ohio State TEDx talk coming up recently, or coming up soon rather. I threw in an application for that, just trying to put myself out there and trying to do all of these different cool experiences. Because not only is that what college is for, that's really what life should be about, in my opinion. But especially college gives you such an easy mechanism, and an easy vehicle to do that. You go to the gym, go get involved in the clubs, do Greek life if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Personally, my opinion might be wait till sophomore year and talk to some other friends to see if you want to rush, but...
I did that. I waited till my sophomore year because I wasn't very sure about like committing so much of my time in my freshman year. But we'll get that, and we'll get into that in our Greek life episode coming up.
Sakshi has a full hour to rant on this. But yeah, just putting yourself out there, all in the end, I think, comes back and reaps rewards.
Yeah.
In a positive way.
So yeah, that's an amazing note to end on. I think, like you said sometime, like, I don't know when you said this, but it's like, I want to like participate. Like, I just want to put myself out there. I think that's so true. Participation is key in college, put yourself out there in clubs and see if you like it. Experiment, like hang out with different groups of people, see if you like them, see if you get along with your roommate or if they're just a person you coexist with. Like just participation is key. It doesn't matter what comes out of it. You'll have the satisfaction of knowing that you tried.
Yeah. Tragically, because I didn't want to be right, I didn't want them to be right in the moment. My freshman year peer leader was correct in the hypothetical of just don't be spending nights in your dorm. Get out, do things, participate, and that will make your college experience make or break, really.
Yeah, and just to clarify, I think what they meant by that is like you can definitely be with your friends inside a physical dorm, but just like don't keep to make yourself
stories.
Yeah.
You can play computer games. Again, I play computer games a lot, but don't play computer games all day long and never talk to other people.
Like don't isolate yourself. And I think they said it specifically for nighttime because I feel like once classes are over and dinner is done, you kind of have the whole time to yourself until next morning classes.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're playing Sudoku, go and sit with your sweet mate outside on your sofa and play Sudoku. If you're like watching a movie, I remember we used to put on a lot of movies in our common room TV, and whoever had time used to come and then they just leave and they had to leave.
The one time I've ever been inside of your dorm building was watching Coco with friends one night.
Exactly. So like, just little things, just don't isolate yourself. Don't do it to yourself because as we will talk about in our second part of this episode, college growth and everything can just be like a little lonely sometimes. So it's like, as and when you can afford to, put yourself out there, make some friends, make some cute memories, and have some happy times.
Happy times.
And on that note,
I've been Nathan.
And I have been Sakshi.
Join us back here for the next episode. We're going to keep this going. And make sure you go follow us on all of our social medias. Make sure you follow us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your playlist. And we hope you enjoyed.
Wait, before that, we have a fun little announcement. Nathan and I have started sharing some of our favorite quotes in real time to TikTok. So if you're active on TikTok, which I know most of you are because I know you.
We're Gen Z demographic.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Follow us on TikTok, a very different set of things from our Instagram. So we just like diversity across our platforms.
Yeah.
Follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and just follow us in life and keep up with the Leo Lens podcast. Bye.